Hey guys, what's up? How's everybody doing? Yeah, just thought I'd pop on here, guys. There's got quite a bit to talk about space weather, believe it or not. Um, you know, Obviously today was been kind of a, I don't know, just kind of a strange day overall. I think we all can agree to that, whatever side of the aisle that you support. It most definitely is, you know, a little strange today. I think for everybody. Um, I'm not going to get into any of that stuff today. I didn't do a report this morning because I figured most people's minds were going to be on that anyway. So I just kind of backed off. But there's been a lot of space weather going on today too. So we're going to talk about that. And so hi to everybody in there. I seen everybody. Sorry about. I'll probably change the song there. That was a pretty long song, like 3 minutes long. Well, for a live stream, I like to give people time anyway to get in here. But on like a normal video or something, I wouldn't play something that long. I get raked over the coals for a 45-second intro on those. But that's okay. But anyway, Tabs Thurston here. Good to see you guys. Jacqueline, G513. IG, what's up? George, what's happening? 2Tim3, Dan T, G513. Hey, I didn't get a chance to say hi to you. I know I stopped in at Wayne. Wayne, or what is it? Watch with Wayne? Yeah, I think so. If you guys don't know who Watch with Wayne is, he basically shows, he's a Canadian guy, and he shows live streams of stuff that's going on from like webcams and stuff from around the country, or really from around the world. And he's done a really good job of just showing people things that are actually happening. That's it. He's not really adding, he has his opinions and stuff, but I would encourage everybody to go over and check out Wayne. Anybody that's been over there, just like I sent you guys over to Mark's, I think he's streaming right now too, and I'm going to go over there when I'm done here. But nobody's ever come back to me and said they didn't like Wayne's channel. So, guys, when I recommend somebody's channel, I put a little bit of thought into it, and, because I'm not going to send you somewhere I wouldn't go. And so, go check out Watch with Wayne. If one of my mods have the link over there, they could drop his link if they would. That would be great. He's a good guy, down to earth. It's a good channel. He does good work over there, and he doesn't add too much commentary, and I like that. He's got his opinions and stuff, but he lets people decide what they think, and that's what I try to do here. So I think that's kind of why I like it over there. His chat's pretty free, just like it is here, and over at Mark's channel too, Mark Byers, Real Talk. All right, so enough of that. Judge, if you guys read the thumbnail there, yes, we've got flaring going on, but we're going to talk about the Schumann here real quick first. Here's that 20 hertz line again, guys. I'm still struggling with what that is. I'm now just saying that there's probably a vibrational frequency at 20 hertz. This is just not going away now. It's just there. The only other option in my mind would be a tool flaw, or a tool malfunction or whatever. This is over in Russia. You got to keep that in mind. This is a regional tool. They have them in Italy, Spain. We've got them over here too, but I don't know where to go to see those. But just know that that's not going away. So, if you guys don't know what this is the Schumann resonance. This is basically it's the heartbeat of the Earth. It's the resonant frequency that we vibrate all the time, and they take the reading from the ionosphere down to the surface of the Earth. They actually take this. They have to take this vibrational frequency and put it into the space station, any kind of spacecraft. People that work in coal mines, they have to put it down there too. If not, they go crazy. They start having mental health issues. There's been so many studies with this. This affects us physically too. This can make us sick. So just understand that. The most common thing I point people to is if you get ringing in your ears, a lot of times it's this. And so just understand that for anybody that doesn't know what this is. Please research it a little bit. But like I say, at the end of the day, always make sure you don't have a physical ailment before something physically wrong, before you blame everything on this. Okay, I see a lot of people really push in that direction, and I push hard back the other way because, if it is this, then, you got an answer. But what if it isn't this and you think it is? What's the outcome there? That can be pretty bad. So, I would really suggest people, if you're having some decent, symptoms of whatever, even like a headache that continues and doesn't go away, go to the doctor and find out what's up. If there's nothing physical going on and you're getting headaches about the time this thing is kind of messing up, then yeah, go with that. But don't stop short of that, okay? But for people that are new, the 7.83 is what is the hurt level that our bodies and our minds basically require to stay at our current mental status. There's been lots of studies. Crime rate goes up, suicide rate goes up, all of that goes up when this thing is jacking up. So guys, please understand that's why I talk about this. This is a very important thing to look at. Frequency, this is what I've said for a while now. This right here, when things start really going really bad, this is where you're going to see it first. Because this is what's going to happen. This affects everything. This is everything. And that's just where it's at. So, just understand that. But do your own research. Okay? Seriously. Space weather. Now, this is where, obviously, we're going to talk about this stuff. Let me say this first and foremost. The NOAA sites right now, which there's a couple that I take you to, they're running really extremely slow. They're having problems loading everything. So I don't know what's going on with that. It's probably just some sort of server issue or something that they're having, because I'm not noticing it on the other websites and stuff that I'm going to. But, sometimes things happen or whatever. But look at this. That's a change, isn't it? Anybody that's been watching me for the past week or so, this is a big change. We had 12, 13, almost 2 weeks of nothing. This is X-ray. It's coming from the sun. What these spikes are, they're solar flares that are Earth-facing. When we get a solar flare, it's X-rays blasting our planet, okay? That's what it is. The initial impact is, anyway. Once it leaves the sun, once a flare happens, it's here in 8 minutes. There is no warning for this stuff. Okay? So understand that. Now, a lot of times with especially a big flare, you will see a CME, a coronal mass ejection, accompanying this. Now that has density and it has all that, so it takes 3 to 5 days for that to get here. That's really where we get the bigger issue, is from that CME. Okay? But so we're looking at this, and you can definitely tell, we were down here. Remember we had like the reverse last week? I was talking about it, where all the X-rays just kind of dropped out. That was kind of odd to begin with, but then this happens. Our base was way down here. Now, the reason why the base is kind of up here and then you got the spiking is because we have some sunspots that are facing Earth right now. So the X-rays are going to naturally increase, just to a baseline that's higher than what it was. But we're getting individual flaring now too. We've had a couple in the C class. This morning, this one here was a C1, I believe. So that would make this one here bigger than that. Now, it wasn't, just, we're talking C-class flares. It's really not that big of a deal, okay? Now, the CMEs and stuff that usually accompany the bigger ones, that's where we got to have, issue. Now, there was no radiation storm with this either. A lot of times when you get a big flare, you'll get radiation, and you see that in the proton flux. Now, the geomagnetic activity is what we typically talk about. What affects this is solar wind, CMEs, all that kind of stuff. Okay? So when you're looking at this, we want to stay at about a 3. Okay, that's the KP index. That's just the unit of measurement that they give this. That's how they measure it. They call it the KP. Now, if you get a KP of 5, that means you're in a geomagnetic storm level 1. And then, as this number goes up, so does this. Level 1, you're not talking about a whole lot of anything, but maybe some increased northern lights, southern lights, possibly an increase in earthquake activity and intensity, those kinds of things. Some radio stuff might be happening. First responders sometimes have issues, with their communications. But when we start creeping up into G3, G4 especially, and then if you get G5, then you're definitely going to see something. We've had quite a bit of solar, geomagnetic storms and stuff in the past that people overlook because we all gravitate towards the big ones like the Carrington event back in 1859 where it fried a lot of the telegraph lines. It did a whole lot of bad stuff. Okay, they seen aurora down towards the equator, which hardly, yeah, that's a big blast. So just understand that. So right now, what you're seeing here was that second coronal hole stream finally got to us, and we had a little bump up in action. It never got very strong because it was moving slow. If we had a lot of density with it, if we'd have had any solar wind speed that was even a little above average, we'd have probably been in the geomagnetic storm. Okay, but because of the solar wind speed itself, in my opinion, that's probably why we didn't see storm level there. So, there's that. Now, here's your first look at your sun, and I always do this for you guys. This is the southern coronal hole, always there. It varies in size. The northern one's always there too. Notice how this one was creeped down. Remember your parallax effect. When you're looking at a sphere, things on the sides look smaller than what they actually are. So that's actually, a pretty decent sized hole. If it was right in front of us, we would have seen it, and it would have been pretty decent size. But this is a decent coronal hole here, guys. You can literally see the atmosphere just kind of pulled back here a little bit. And so that's a pretty open hole. And where's the Earth sit? Well, here's the equator of the sun. The Earth is sitting right here. So here in about 3 to 5 days, we're definitely connected to that. I seen a little jerk on the phi angle and stuff, so I'm wondering if that wasn't what it was. We connected to that. So it'll take those charged particles. It'll take those particles some time to get here, 3 to 5 days. Now, I would assume we're going to, we'll have a bump up in geomagnetic activity. Now, I can't tell you if we're going to have storm level or not yet, but we're going to keep an eye on what's coming from that. Then we got this. Okay, this is that sunspot we were talking about, and I wish this one was on here. Let me hit play. See, oh, there it is. Okay, good. I'm going to zoom in here because I want to show you something. Okay, remember I was telling you guys, this right here, this spot right here, was the one this is the third time it's made it around. It survived 3 laps around the sun. Now you can see how it's kind of split in half. And it did. So what's happened there is, we look for positive and negative signatures here. But the issue is back here. Okay? These trailing little spots that are part of this sunspot grouping, and they consider this one spot, okay, because it's a grouping. But what's happening is you've got the positive and negatives are so close to each other. The umbral fields, which are the arcs that we see. Here, I'll just take you out. Here, let me back up. You can see arcs in here, okay? I've shown them to you guys a lot. I'll show it to you here on, well, I guess I can just show you here. You guys can see arcs and stuff here, right? So when those arcs and the polarity of those arcs are different and they hit each other, what happens? It's basically like an incandescent light bulb. It blows. Okay, so they'll snap and it'll flare. So that's what you see. That's what a flare is. Now, usually, if it's a big one, like I said, that snapping effect and everything will actually cause the sun to erupt there too, and that's the CME. So it's two different things that are happening at the same time most of the time, if it's significant. But not all the time. And we're not seeing hardly any CME action with that. Now, so I come over here to the ACE data, and the BZ is the angle of which the solar wind hits us, okay? We don't really pay much attention to this unless it's -6 or bigger, because if it's not -6, typically it's not, the angle isn't correct to be favorable for all this stuff to get into our system. All right. So, hello to Axe, Della, Sid, Brenda, Angelo, holding it down for me in the Bronx, 555, Dale, Lighthouse, Della, I think I said Della, Brenda, Menacing is in here, cool. Sid, what's up? G513, everybody, Jerry, what's up, guys? Just want to say hi real quick. Thanks for being here. Lighthouse, good to see you. Now, the phi angle is actually the polarity of that solar wind. Okay? So sometimes that polarity will flip. And when it flips, you'll see this. Okay, you've seen it happen here, it happened here, happened here. So each time it's doing this, you can actually usually see the density react close to that. The speed sometimes will. Okay, because that's what the yellow line is. That's the solar wind speed. Now notice this. You see the dots right there? Those are data points. And what that's showing you is conditions are kind of fluctuating. So, oops. But that also means they got kind of high. Look here. See the range? 1 to 1,000. This is density. You know what normal is for density is 4. So if it's above 4, that's above normal. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad thing. But when we start seeing stuff hit 100, okay, we're most likely going to take a hit of some sort. Okay? And I didn't really see a whole lot with this right here. But we can kind of look at flaring and CMEs and stuff like that will cause these things to react also. But the solar wind speed itself is extremely normal. It's on the low end of normal. This is kilometers per second, and normal here is 3 to 500. So if it's not over 500, it's really not elevated. So anyway, we can sit here and you can look at the density. We take all this into account, I mean. And, you know, we can sit here and talk all day long what's going to happen, this, that, and the other. And at the end of the day, it almost comes down to, you know, the observation and then an educated guess. It's as simple as that. Because this is the NOAA site, and I could take you over to a NASA site. They're using the same data, but why their predictions are different is because their model parameters, this is a model. And they take that data and the model interprets it. Well, if the model isn't looking at the same thing or isn't taking the data in the same way, things are a little different. The parameters that are set for this, and I like to explain it like this, because most of us, like when a big hurricane's getting ready to hit, you always see the meteorologists show you the spaghetti line path, right? The forecasted path for the hurricane. And it changes from day to day, which it should, because they get more data in, things change. If it's wrong, they move it and all that kind of thing, right? Well, if you notice, there's 20 of them now. And what that is those are different agencies' models. They're all getting the same data. It's just their models are interpreting it differently. That's where the inconsistency comes from between the models. So we will see that from NOAA to NASA also. So understand that. That's why sometimes the models don't look exactly the same. And, you know, especially if they're not using the same data source. And that becomes an issue. But all of them are pretty decent, I will have to say. Now this one here, it seems to be off a little bit more than most, but who knows. But anyway, the conditions here, the green lines, the conditions at Earth. This is the conditions at stereo A, which is right here. Stereo A is, you got stereo A and stereo B. These satellites were put out there, I think it was like 16, 17 years ago or something like that now. But they actually were kind of out here. They might have even been past 90 degrees. Because both of them were put out there at the same time so we could get a backside view of the sun. Because before these, and you know, we really didn't have very much data on what was going on the backside of the sun. So that allowed us to have, you know, that kind of a perspective and that kind of view, where they're slowly inching back towards the Earth. And these things are actually past their lifespan. A lot of people don't know that. These things are overachieving right now. Now, stereo B, we don't get any data from that anymore. I'm not going to go into that. They've got the data. I'm not sure how reliable it is. A few things happened years back. I'm not going to go into what happened because it's just a long, drawn-out story. But the fact is, you know, they do probably still get data from this. I'm not sure exactly why they don't show it to us, but we'll just leave it at that. Because they said they lost communication. Well, they regained communication with it, and maybe it was damaged, but I don't know. I'm not even going to go into that tonight. It's a whole nother video, or a series of videos, really. We were seeing quite a bit of stuff off of this satellite when that thing did that. So, you know, Scott was seeing a lot of stuff on that one at that time. But, you know, I don't know how we could prove either way, so that's why I don't really talk about that too much. Excuse me. But anyway, as we move on here, we can see the magnometer. That was a flare. Okay, so it's kind of bumpy here, so it is moving a little bit, you know. And let me reiterate, guys. I mean, Scott was catching a lot of stuff out here. Okay, so it is kind of a little crazy that all that happened all at that same time. So I don't know. Yeah. Again, that's a whole nother video right there. Just so everybody understands that. Here's the solar wind models. This is NOAA's models again here. This is the wind speed itself. And it's measured in kilometers per second. Nothing much going on here, guys. I'm not going to waste your guys' time showing you guys this. This is density. Not much movement there. We're getting about a normal amount of pressure. Okay, so again, I'm not going to waste your guys' time with this because it would be just a waste of time. Now, these are Magnetosphere models too. The sun's off to the right on these. I'm not going to show you these too much either because, again, there's not much going on right here right now. We are seeing a little bit. See a little action here. We are getting hit, okay? We're staying compressed. Now, I like to show this model when we're talking about this. This is the Australian model. Shout out to my Aussies out there. I love you guys. This is my favorite Magnetosphere model, believe it or not. What this is this is our bow shock. It's the point where the solar wind meets Earth's magnetic field. That's all that it is. It's the point where those two collide. And this is our first line of defense, and that's why when we look at this one, you see how things are deflected away? That's why. Okay? So, yeah, that's what you're seeing here. That's all the same thing. Just different models. So, I'll take you back to the 20th. Right here is density, and this is wind speed, and that's the BZ angle, which we look for -6 there or greater. But as you can see, look at the density just jumping around a bunch. Okay, 14, it went down to like 3. Okay, so it's jumping around quite a bit. And that's pretty significant variation there, guys. It's fluctuating quite a lot. And this gives us an image every minute also. That's why I like it. Most of the other ones will only give you the other shortest one closest to that is like every 4 minutes. Most of them are like 15 minutes. So, you know, it's not like watching a movie. When you're watching a movie, even low grade movies are going to give you a 60 frame per second, not one image every 12 minutes. So that's the difference. That's why it matters. So we'll look at the 21st here too. We get a couple hours here. I don't think we're going to see much though. Yeah. So it stopped at 4. So we're looking, you know, again, that is elevated proton density. All right. 4 would be the normal number, but is what it is. Geoelectric field model. This is the model I show you guys when I'm talking about space weather's effect on our electrical grid system. This is what you see here. Okay. See how the timeline's moving but nothing's going on up here? That's because things are stable until you see those little flashes. And those little flashes aren't nothing. Just let me say that. This is space weather's effect on our electrical grid. Unnatural electrical components is the official definition there. That would be transformers, electrical wires, anything that's not natural, obviously. But not, I mean, like hardly any activity there. Here's the aurora forecast here. This is the North Pole. This is the South Pole. The North Pole, obviously, we look at this a lot because we know magnetic north has moved. It's moving fast, and it's moving a great distance. It used to be in Canada. It's no longer in Canada. It's way over here towards Siberia. These two, the North and South Pole, guys, they're pulling to each other. They're getting closer to each other. Okay? So when that's natural. Right? You know, negative and positive, they attract each other when we're talking about a magnet. A positive and a positive would be pushing against each other. So the magic line here, guys, is latitude 40. They say when magnetic north gets to latitude 40, it will do a flip. That's like, you know, event horizon type of situation where once it gets there, it ain't going back. It's going to go ahead and flip. Now notice the geography here. See how the southern lights, this is Australia. That's Africa. No, I'm sorry, South America. My bad. So you can see the distance away that this is. It's closer to Australia, New Zealand, and all the countries over here. That means it's moving this way. If you look at magnetic north, which way is it moving? It's moving towards the equator. They're both moving towards the equator. Okay, so that shows you right there. So if people are new and they don't understand what I'm talking about here, we're talking about our magnetic north and south. This right here is why our compasses work. They always point towards magnetic north. Okay, that's how our compasses work. So if that's moving, it will affect us navigation. They had to go back a year early because it was moving so fast. It was drifting so fast towards Siberia that they were like building airplane runways in the wrong position. And could you imagine? I mean, this would mess with autopiloting, all that kind of stuff. That's why they go back every 5 years anyway and physically find where magnetic north is. Now, geographic north stays in the same spot always. It's right there where my cursor is. Same with the South Pole. So, when we're talking about a pole flip, we're not talking about a geographic pole flip. Okay, we're talking about magnetics. Now, when the magnetic thing, there's a lot of theories on what happens when that does go ahead and do what it's going to do. In my opinion, if you guys want my opinion, it's going to be very catastrophic. The biggest thing I look at, and this is just me, and there's probably other people out there that share this, we have what we call the equatorial bubble. The equator of the Earth is about, you know, the sea level's higher there. There's a bubble there. And what's holding it in place? Well, there's a few things holding it in place, but one of those that's influencing that is the magnetic field. So when these things flip, our magnetic field will go down for however long it needs to. Okay, it'll take it a minute before everything will be back. Okay, but what happens is when that magnetic field goes down for whatever length of time, that equatorial bubble will release, and every coastline in the world will flood. Okay, just think of it as a big freaking tsunami, because that's what it'll be. Now, there's a lot of questions on how far inland it'll come, all that kind of thing. But again, let me say this first and foremost. Everything I just said is my opinion and only theory. Nobody has been here during a magnetic pole flip. Nobody has any recorded historic data on a pole flip. Okay, so understand that. It's just educated, guessing, I guess. I don't want to call it a guess. It's more of a theory. And yes, a lot of this is very, very thought out, because this is a big subject. Okay? So, there's a lot of good stuff out there that you can go find on the pole flip stuff. But I have to always put that disclaimer there, because, we could be wrong. We don't know. If we had been here before on one of them, not us personally, I'm talking just humanity at all, where we were to the point where we could actually record it and take data down. That wasn't happening the last time. They say it happens, oh gosh, I can't remember however many years. It's thousands of years. So, I can't remember exactly when they said the last one was, but we're overdue right now from what they say. Okay, so that was that. Now, that was the aurora. Okay, here's seeds. I'm going to show you guys this real quick, and I'll take you to the other side. This is, remember I showed you where stereo A was, right? Here. And this is Earth. So, we're looking at stereo A. Satellite's here. Earth is over here. Now, that's a CME. That's going off the backside. But look here. There's one firing off right here, too. Holy crap, man. You guys hear that? It's like almost midnight here, and there's like low-flying planes. You guys hear that? Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'll just leave that alone. We got a guard unit here, so I just wonder. Who knows? Anyway, you got, this is a CME off the backside, because Earth's over here. Now, this is two-dimensional, so anything going off to the left will look like it's going to the left. It actually could be moving this way or that way. Judging by by LASCO C2, remember, satellite's here, Earth is here. Now, the one I'm getting ready to show you here, this is LASCO C2, and it's on the SOHO satellite observatory. Earth is here, satellite's here. It's between us and the sun. It's about 1 million miles closer to the sun. So it's our perspective. Now, given that, what I just said, if you combine both of those models, what you're seeing here, all this stuff over here, is this. Okay? So that tells us that, yes, both of them are going to the left, so that means this is actually going off the backside. But now we got this to look at. Okay? Now, unfortunately, what we're going to see over here on seeds right now, because we don't have any data for the 21st, we're not going to see nothing happen except for right there. You see that? Oh gosh, they just added data back. Check that out, guys. Now, see, this is what I'm glad this happened. I just showed you the 20th, right? A second ago, and none of this data was there. Okay? So this is another CME. I knew this happened because I was looking at the other websites. And this is a great way for me to tell you guys that just because this one isn't showing something doesn't mean that the data is missing. Because we can go to other websites and find it. And I've done that for you guys multiple times, like right here. That's why I had these pulled up. Because it was showing it. See that? This is the same as this. Two different sites. They have nothing to do with each other. This is seeds. This is ISWA. Two different things, okay? But they got the same tool models and stuff. So that's a good way for me to show you guys that just because one tool isn't showing the data doesn't mean that the data isn't there. So just so you know. Now this one here ain't going to affect us at all. It's actually, I just showed you guys it's going off the backside. But this here, this is significant. Okay? I do think that this is going to come at us. Okay? And I know everybody's looking right in there, and they probably should. But regardless, you know, when we get more data in on this, I'll show it to you. Yeah, this is a pretty substantial one, guys. They both were. Now, what, you know, I've been talking about my own personal observations for the past couple years. When you get a big one, like, let me get it there. Sorry. Like this one on this side, a lot of times you're going to see on the direct opposite side, you're going to see a CME. Also, it happens a lot, just like what we're seeing right here. So when we get one popping off the back side, yes, that doesn't affect us, but it causes us, I do think it increases our chances of having one facing us because we're directly opposite the backside of the sun. So how do I know that how am I going to say that I think this is coming at us? Well, there's a couple reasons here. Remember, we're here, and anything on this two-dimensional model looks like it's going to be going to the right, even if it's going that way or this way. Personally, I think it's going this way. That's what it looks like to me, and I'm going to show you why. Well, let me just I'll let you guys see this again before I get off the screen. We'll watch it in slow motion here. But guys, this is a significant one. We haven't had a CME like this in a few weeks. The sun, like I said, we're coming out of solar minimum. We went into a lull period there, and now things are perking back up, and it's going to continue to be that way. Okay. So now I know that that's going right from our view, right? So if I go back here and I look, remember Earth's here, so they're both pointing to the right. Okay, so that means that this is not like going this way. All right, because if we seen it like pushing off this direction, and then this one here, where's it at? Sorry. And then this one here showed it like looking like it was going that way, then we could say that this wasn't coming at us. But there's also another thing that we can visibly go look at. Okay, so let me show you that. And this is where it becomes where if you've never really looked at these tools, it's kind of hard to catch this stuff. Okay, I'll just say that first and foremost. We can come here to SDO. SDO is basically in the same position as SOHO. Again, the Earth would be here. The satellite sits right out in front of it. Okay, so if we're going to look at this, I'm going to zoom in so we can see it better. Now, something else I want to point out before I push play. You're going to look at this and it's going to go black. But what this thing is doing is it's doing an orientation. It has to reorientate sometimes, especially when it gets hit. You can physically see the box of the camera go from left to right, up to down, and they'll do both, and then from like right to left and then down to up. It's finding home is what it's doing. So I'm going to push play and now watch. See that? Basically that's an orientation. You know, if anybody's ever worked on machines, we have to find home all the time. That way we have a base to go off of. That's just their way of calibrating it, all right? So that was nothing to freak out about. It happens all the time. So just know that. Hey, Keith. Good to see you. Glad you're in here. So as we look at this, you know, what are we looking for? We're looking for that CME, right? You know, if it was going off to the right, we would see it over here. Well, we don't really see nothing over there, do we? Is anybody else catching what I'm talking about here? Because if you look close, you'll be able to see it. See where that CME came from. You know what it is? It's a filament release. Remember, I told you guys you don't have to have a sunspot or anything like that to have a CME. It can do it wherever it wants. So what you're going to see, watch for the dark shadow right here. There's a filament laying right here. Just like in an incandescent light bulb, the sun has these filaments, and when it breaks, like when your light bulb goes out, what happens? The filament breaks. It's the same thing happening here. It'll break and it's snapping out into space. So watch right here, you'll see it. See this? Just watch right in here. See that moving up and down? I know it's kind of hard to see on this one, but I'm going to show you guys another view. This is the 171. Okay? So let me, I'm going to back out of that, and I'm going to show you a different angstrom. The 171 is an angstrom of light. Okay? And they use the 171 to see this one particular gas, because it only shows up in that light, that part of the light spectrum. We cannot see this gas with our eyes without the assistance of a filter. That's why they do this. They could have made this thing puke green if they wanted to. The color means nothing. Okay? This is the 304. This is the one that's in that part of the light spectrum where we can see filaments pretty easily. Or easier, I should say. Now, when it's not on the side of the sun, you don't have the space as your background. If it's on the front here, which is what we really want to find out, because if it's facing us, we want to know. It's hard to see sometimes, because the sun itself camouflages it. So let me do this, and what you're going to see a dark patch here start moving around. I'm just going to push play. There's its roll. See this darkness right here? The little filament thing? That's where your CME's coming from. So, given that, is it coming at us? Well, we have to wait on the CME tracker to be definite. Okay, there's a CME tracker. I'm going to show it to you. Now this right here is a NASA tool. The other ones were NOAA, okay? And I can tell you right now it hasn't updated. Because if you look at your timestamp, it starts on the 8th. And this is that double CME that we've seen, you know, back on the 8th. This is that one that caught up with the one in the front. So it hasn't updated yet. Also, this is the Parker SP. It's doing its thing right now too. It's diving in there. Okay? That's the one they sent out there, and it kisses the sun. It gets into the corona so we can observe what's going on. One of the biggest things they were trying to figure out why the corona is hotter than the surface of the sun. That's a lot of the reasons why this satellite's out there. But that's cool. They plot this thing right here. Remember, this is Earth and this is stereo A. I think this is Osiris Rex, I think. Yeah, that is. And then you got Mercury right here. And you got Venus over here. Mars is over here. You got Mars 2020 on here too. That's a satellite that hangs out with Mars taking readings. Okay, and then this, again, this is stereo A. I'm not quite sure which one this one is. Where's the key at? Oh yeah, it's SOLO. SOLO. These are all just different satellites getting observations and data. Oh, you had a burst of, well, hang in there for a second, Tammy. Let me show you. It is bursting right now, just so you know. Here, let me refresh that, see what we got. Yeah, look. Little spike going on. That could be it, Tammy. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. So anyway, that, okay? So at the end of the day, what am I saying? What I'm saying is that I think that this second CME that I showed you there on seeds has a decent chance of coming our direction. It's not 100% that it is, but from what I'm seeing and what I'm viewing, it looks to me like that could possibly be coming our direction. Now, it could go south of us, it could go north of us, but we'll wait and see what the CME tracker says, okay? Because once that comes in, that's usually pretty close. It's not always right, but it's pretty close. So let me show you this CME one more time here. Remember, there's two, but this one really ain't affecting this over here. That's a pretty decent one there, guys. But it looks like a filament release to me. So it wasn't a full, what we call a halo. If anybody doesn't know, this black disc here is called the occulter. It's always there to block out the main light of the sun. If it's not there, we don't get any capture at all. But check it out over here on the red version. You'll see it happen here too. So yeah. So we're just gonna have to wait and see once we get more data in. And I just happened to catch this right before I did my show. So I'm just including it here. I could have waited till tomorrow, but I knew it was a CME. I just can't tell you exactly if it's going to hit us yet or not. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of something here. Let me get the near Earth object conversation out of the way first. Okay. First off, we had 23 fireball reports. Okay. That's a pretty normal number. I don't want to say it's big, small, whatever. But it definitely isn't like 6 or 7 like we've been seeing the past week. Now, these are reported fireballs. That means somebody's seen these things. Okay? It could be an observatory. It could be a backyard person. But they have to prove that they've seen it with data and stuff. But yes, that's where this stuff comes from. Notice how they're all on the same side. You guys see that? So I'm not sure exactly what that means, but that's something I noticed. We're not seeing any looping coming from this way. These are the orbits of the fireballs. Okay? But when we talk about the near-Earth objects, you guys see this right here? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Okay? And the majority of these, like I said, they're measured out in lunar distance. The distance from us to the moon. That's the unit of measurement they're looking at. Look at the date here. They include the date of when it was discovered right here. Now, I've always told you guys that, it looks as though we're having an uptick in these, right? Well, what we have to understand is they really didn't start collecting data on these till like 50, 60 years ago. And even then, it wasn't nowhere near the technology we have now. There was actually an observatory in the southern hemisphere called SSS, and it's no longer in commission. It got defunded. It went down in 2013. This is the CSS, is what they use now, I believe, is the 3-letter abbreviation. Like Sky something. I can't remember exactly what they... Well, I think it's up here. Hold on, give me 1 second here, guys. Sorry. But as I'm looking for this, just let me tell you this too. I got an email from Nibby, and he was telling me that before 2000, 2002, they were only tracking 1,500 of them, near Earth objects. Between then and now, we've seen almost 16. Well, it was 1,546 new ones on top of it. So the whole time, just within, I think it was 2000, like in 1 year or just a few years there, the number doubled quickly. And I think a lot of that has to do with, our technology's better and they're seeing more of it. But also, we may be coming into an area of space that is just more cluttered and dirty. And what I mean by that, you see all this? That's 0.3. That's a third of the way to the moon. That's how close it came to us. Now notice the size of these. They're not that big. These are in diameter. Okay? But when did this get added? Let's go look. How can we look? Well, we can go up here, change the date of when this page was set up, this is spaceweather.com, guys. Go give them some love. I mean, they really do a good job over here. A lot of good info over here. So if we go back, let's just go back to the 18th. Hit view. Did it update? There it goes. Okay. I didn't think it updated yet. Man, this thing is moving slow. You know what? Let me shut off some of this stuff real quick. Okay, guys? Give me a second. So back on the 18th, you see I was only showing 2 of them? So they found 2 more, or 3 more, today. Now if we go back again, let's just go back another 2 days. Go back to the 16th. Come on. Man, this thing is running slow. So we go back to the 16th. We've only got 2 of them on there. 3. But they didn't see any of those ones that were real close on the 16th. So they just seen these things the past couple days. So that's telling you that our number 1, we're actually seeing more because of the technology. Number 2, we could be just getting into a more dirty part of space. That's just the way that it is. And there's a whole lot of reasons for that, and we'll just leave it at that. But that number of 1,500, and then in 1 year, 1 or 2 years, you see that number being seen in 1 year that was only seen like years before, all added together. That's a significant jump. I can't remember the exact number there. I'll look at it and I'll bring it to you guys tomorrow and give you the exact number on how many were seen and all that. But notice, guys, I mean, a 0.1. Now, I showed you guys that one yesterday, okay, but it was real small. It was only 1 meter. Menacing, you're killing me there. You want to see some, do you, Bob? That's cool. He's talking about he hadn't seen any meteors all winter long in SC Alaska, whatever SC is, South Central maybe, Alaska. Yeah. But this here, I'm gonna point this out too. I'm gonna explain this a little bit because I want you guys to hear what I got to say about this. They're talking about, well, first off, the solar wind stream. I just showed you that coronal hole. They're saying we're going to have an uptick on the 20th, 21st, which is right now, but that's not coming from the hole I showed you. So we could get into storm level or we couldn't. We still got some time here, okay? But this here says a musical note from the magnetosphere. They caught a frequency here. Now this is very local and regional. It even says that here. Okay, but this was like a constant hum. And if you guys read this, it says our local magnetic field began to swing back and forth in a rhythmic pattern. Rhythmic. Electrical currents in the ground did the same thing. It was a nearly pure sine wave like a low frequency musical note. This is the frequency here. 2 minutes and 14 seconds was the wavelength there. This is the declination. This right here is like basically, I think that's like the baseline, is what they consider that. It says, Stames has received such notes before, but they are rare. I see a pattern like this only about once a year, he says. So this is significant. This is very rare. Why am I talking about this? Well, you guys remember the video I showed you guys about the shaking that came down in Florida that was very localized? You know, it was all over the news, at least in Florida. Where it felt like an earthquake to those guys, but no earthquakes were reported. It lasted for like 15 seconds. People were trying to say it was a sonic boom, which we all know that a sonic boom, when it hits you, it's there and gone just as fast as you hear it. If anybody's ever experienced it or been underneath a plane when it did break the sound barrier. But this here says space physicists call this phenomenon a pulsation continuous, or PC. Imagine blowing across a piece of paper. Now this is a really good analogy. Blowing across a piece of paper, making it flutter with your breath. Solar wind does the same thing to the magnetic field. PC waves are essentially flutters propagating down the flanks of the Earth's magnetosphere. So what they're saying is these waves are going down the sides of our magnetic field. That's what they're basically saying at a basic level. But the key point here is they make a point to say that this was local or regional. It's a very specific site that this happened. That was what I was trying to wrap my brain around down in Florida. What could cause that to happen in such a localized area, but yet still be that significant? In my mind, it could be something like this. So I don't know if that's what caused it. There's absolutely no way for me to prove it. I could go here. This is a website that I've been looking at now since I've seen this. But we can go here and we can see we can enter a date here. We'll just go right now. We'll just start hour 0. We'll do a, who knows, like a 24-hour thing here. And hit generate. Now, I don't know how to read this yet. Okay, so don't think of anything like that yet. I don't know what the colors of these dots mean. I can tell you that when I put this in motion, the colors will change. So they mean something. Probably more intense, more this, or more that. I want to figure out how to read this tool. Because if I can go to this one, and they'll plot it down here. Okay, so they had a spike right here of some sort of wave, right? So if I can relate the same time we had that vibrational frequency down here causing the pools and stuff to vibrate, and it matches up, this possibly could be what caused that. So I don't know for sure. I'm just saying it's something I'm researching right now. I just thought it was interesting that spaceweather.com was talking about this, and it sparked me to give me that idea. So I don't know if it's actually what's going on. I'm not sure if the wavelengths could actually do that, but I'm going to look into that some more and see what and see what I can find. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but you know, I think it's a valid thing to look at. I'm not sure if it's going to be what causes it or not, but anyway, so yeah. So here's that CME. I'll show you guys this one more time. So that could be coming at us. All right. Now remember, We got this thing, the sunspots are flaring now. Okay, so we're gonna have to watch that. No doubt, we got to watch it. Okay, that sunspot grouping has now become more frequent. It's become more unstable. And here's their predictions. They're saying that, you know, they think we're going to have an uptick anyway. So we'll have to wait and see if any of that pans out. But again, I want to say this right here is really where I'm going to be focusing the next day or so, because I want to see if that's coming at us. So I should be able to tell you guys by tomorrow, once this stuff starts updating. So I just wanted to, you know, show you guys that. Now, let's go here. I'm going to be, Mark's live right now, guys, so this is where I'm going to head over to, okay? If you guys want to hang out with me, come talk with me in the chat. This is where I'm going to be. We'll go show Mark some love, unless he's getting off right now. Is he done?
So excited to...
Nope, he's not. He's showing some of the inauguration. So, let's, you know, if you guys want to, just follow me over there and we'll hang out and talk in the chat. I'll put his link here. Paste. Okay. Something else here too, but I forgot to do this, but I'll do it now, I guess. Let me see this real quick. Here is, I'm going to put my PayPal link in there, guys. I'm making up a list as I speak. You know, I have a list up of recent donations probably by tomorrow. I'm going to try to anyway. But here's my PayPal link, guys. If you guys want to help me out, there it is. If not, I get it. Never expected, always appreciated. Okay? So just know that. So, you guys got any questions or anything? I'm going to head over to Mark's. I'm just going to, you know, go over and hang out and just kind of defrag for a minute. So I hope you guys follow me over there. I really do, because I think you guys will have fun. Anybody that's never been over there, please come. It's definitely a good thing. So yeah. Anyway, guys, love all you guys, and I know that we got stuff going on, guys, but listen, we're just going to have to try to do our best just to keep going, all right? Even take this advice. If I've not said anything to you guys at all tonight that's hit with you in any way, take this a little piece of advice I would give. That if the stuff that's happening right now in our world, especially over here in the States, is really getting to you, there is no shame in stepping back from it for a minute and turning the TV off for a couple days. Okay? Even if, I mean, you're not going to hurt my feelings either if you shut YouTube off and don't come watch me at all. I mean, sometimes we need that break. Okay? And, you know, let's just face it. When we lose something, we don't like it. But it doesn't mean that we can't get past it. And I think that that's where a lot of us are at right now. And I'm not going towards any kind of political leanings. I'm just talking all together. Because we're so fractured right now as a people that it's going to be a long road back. And I don't know what else to say. It's pretty depressing. And that's why I'm trying to push you guys over to Mark's channel to get some positivity back up in there. And we can leave that political stuff alone for a minute if we need to. But he takes the political stuff and puts his own little humor onto it, and it makes us, you know, it's great. So, just come hang out with me over there, guys. Give him a Wages Love bomb. My family over here is the same as the Real Talk family. Just know that. That's right. Be the light, Muse. That's awesome. So we're going to go hang out with my boy and my brother and all you guys over there. So come with me, guys. God bless.